everyone, Raelan here. I have Kristyna here with me today. I'm so excited to help share a bit of her story with you. It's really inspiring. It just really fills you with hope when you're facing something challenging. She has fully recovered from what she was diagnosed with post-viral syndrome. So she's not even sure to this day if it was COVID or what it was, because by the time she was tested, it was too late to tell. But many of us had a viral onset for our conditions, whether it be any CFS or long COVID or whatnot. So I think this will be very relevant and relatable for people. So hello, Kristyna. Thank you so much for doing this today.
Hello, Raelan, and thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure.
So I know where you are, but why don't you tell people where you are in the world?
Well, right now I'm in the middle of Europe. I am from Czech Republic, in Central Europe. We moved with my husband a few years ago to Austria. So I'm currently in Vienna in Austria. And yeah.
Yeah, it's really exciting to have people from so many different countries. And I was saying before we started chatting, I'm so appreciative for you and everyone who does this in English, because I know this isn't your first language. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. And it also, I want to mention that it was also a huge part of my recovery that I speak a little bit English, that I understand English, because yes, the informations and in Czech Republic and in Austria in other languages are not really good. So yeah, it helped me a lot.
I never really thought about that aspect. Of course, I appreciated that it's challenging for people to find information in different languages, but in some countries it's just you get sick, and then also while you're sick, and many people have brain fog and cognitive problems, and then you have to try and process it all in English.
Yeah. It was really hard for especially to finding these information about this illness and everything. So all you can find in Czech Republic or in Austria, or at least I haven't across something relevant, some relevant information. All I found was the same amount of information that you have to pace yourself, and yeah, that you cannot recover fully actually, and that was it. And it was like copy pasted this these informations from Wikipedia, and that was it. So it was really challenging, and I cannot imagine until now what would I do without having the opportunity to reach out to English speaking channels and people who recovered and so on. So it is really challenging for people. And yeah, of course, there are many people in Czech Republic, in Austria, are also sick with CFS or post-viral fatigue, and they do not have this opportunity to find this kind of information. So it's really challenging. It's tough.
So it's really incredible all that you've accomplished and how far you've come. You know, you were just saying just before we hit record, I'd love for you to share a bit of this with everyone who's watching before we dive into your story, just how amazing it is. You said just to be sitting here, how, a year ago it didn't feel this way, that you would get here.
Yeah, this is an absolute dream. And thank you very much, Raelan, again, for everything you have done and everything you are doing. In my wildest dreams, I couldn't imagine I will be sitting here right now talking to you about my recovery. And actually I was dreaming about it to have this interview, because I've seen all of your interviews, all of your YouTube videos and recovery stories, some of them maybe 5 times or even more. And I was always imagining giving this interview to you or to other people, just sharing my story. But in my wildest dream, I couldn't imagine it would be in such a short time, actually. And with you, this is like really discovering your channel, the recovery stories, especially was like finding a whole new planet full of aliens. Because as I said, not many informations in my language or in German language about this illness, about CFS and post-viral fatigue. And that means also no recovery stories. I haven't found any recovery story in Czech Republic or in Austria. And I'm sure there are people who recovered, but I haven't found anything really. It's really sad. So it's also pleasure for me to share my story with you and to give hope to the people who are not, who are in Czech Republic or in Austria, in other countries, that yeah, we also can recover. There are also many people who recovered.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Not only English
I hope
speakers.
so. Not only English speakers.
It's not a requirement. Yeah, I wanted you
Yeah.
to share that because we were talking about before that when you're in it, it can feel sometimes so hopeless and it can feel like things are never going to change and you've tried so many different things and doctors can't help you and you can just feel stuck. So to imagine that
Yeah.
in a year or less or however long that you could be in an entirely different place, I think it's just so hopeful and that's just what you need to keep putting in the work and keep trying and keep exploring. So why don't you take us back? Tell us a bit about your health journey. What happened?
Well, before my post-viral fatigue journey, I was just living normal life. I wouldn't say I was somehow special. I was just living with my husband in Austria. I would say I was quite happy, quite healthy. The only thing was that I had a very, very stressful job here in Vienna, and obviously I had to quit this job, and actually it was a big part of my recovery, and and somehow I sometimes think that maybe the illness was the push for me to quit this job, which was not making me happy and which was not fulfilling for me. But overall I was pretty healthy, pretty happy until well, I always say there are like two time zones where the illness started. The first is when you are having these little signs of, wow, something is going on. Like I was in last 2 years sick pretty often, like every second month or every third month. I had a lot of antibiotics. I had Lyme disease. I had tonsillitis and so on. And at the end, I had also panic attacks at the night, and it was really scary experience as well. And this was the first, I would say, wake-up call for me that something is going on with my body and something is not right. And I promised myself that when I still have these panic attacks, that I have to change something in my life, but I dealt with it somehow and I didn't have these panic attacks anymore. So I kept going in what I was doing. So it was just pushing myself, doing the work, which was not making me happy, until in summer last year, I got sick again. It was nothing special, I would say, but I honestly, I have to say that it felt a little bit different. It was not like, yeah, I said I was pretty often ill, but it felt a little bit different. It was almost like my body was faking the illness or something like that. I was almost feeling that this is not a virus or a bacteria or something. It was really weird. And I felt from the very beginning, this will take a little bit longer. So it was really, but yeah, I had many syndromes, but it seems to be like a normal virus or something like that. And I'm not sure till now whether it was COVID. I didn't have these usual symptoms like cough and so on. Yeah, so this is where it started. And I thought at the beginning, okay, it will take longer and it means maybe 3 weeks. And it wasn't 3 weeks. It was actually not better after 3 weeks. It was not better after 4 weeks. It was actually much worse after 6 weeks. And it was just going and going and going. And I was more and more hopeless, and it was really crazy.
So I imagine, like most people, you went to see a doctor, or what did you do when you saw that it wasn't going away?
I've visited so many doctors because I was so stubborn. I just wanted to know what's wrong with me, and I was so hopeless, really so hopeless, and I was searching for all those specialists around Vienna or Austria, and I've visited, I would say, really every doctor possible, whether it was heart disease or infection or everything. I tried really everything. And let me just say this, yeah, we have an insurance, a health insurance in Austria, but yeah, I visited the specialist, so it was crazy amount of money what I paid to the doctors. And yeah, as usual, all I got from there was, on a paper, you're perfectly healthy. And it was really stressful because I couldn't explain that, yeah, but I don't feel healthy, and that's the problem. And the bad thing is that the doctors are always like, they're focused only on their, I don't know, organs or the specific area, and they haven't even tried to find something, or they were like, okay, from my point of view, you're okay. Just go home and do your own research or something like that. And I did. Of course, I did my own research. And some people say, yeah, you shouldn't Google it all the time. You shouldn't Google what illness you have. But it actually saved my life at the end. So I don't blame Google for it. Actually, you can really sometimes find some relevant informations. But it was really, I think it was the scariest time, because it was the time where I was still hoping that I will find someone who can help me. It was still, I was crying all the time in my bed, like, why can nobody help me? Why is everybody telling me I'm healthy when I'm not? Yeah, and this was the scariest time, I would say. And the last doctor appointment I had was about, I think, like 5th month in my illness, where things were getting worse and worse and worse. And it was the neurologist. And he referred himself on his website to be CFS specialist. And this was the first time when I heard of CFS. I found it on the internet. Nobody even mentioned it in 5 or 6 months that this could be it, or post-viral fatigue or something like that. Mm-hmm. So this was completely new. And somehow I wouldn't say happy, but you know, you want to hear a diagnosis so much. And I was almost okay with every diagnosis I could possibly get. I was like, okay, just tell me I have this illness, whatever, but don't tell me I'm perfectly healthy, because I'm not. I felt there's really something really bad going on with my body. So the last doctor appointment was at a neurologist, and he eventually diagnosed me with post-viral fatigue. And as I said, he was a CFS specialist in Austria, and we were done in like 30 minutes, and everything he said to me was that I have to pace myself without even explaining what does it mean. I knew it already from your channel. Yeah. And that was it, not from him. And he said that if I'm not going to get better in few weeks, in 2 or 3 weeks, which I already do, I'm not going to get better in 3 weeks or 2 weeks. He proposed to try low dose naltrexone treatment. I don't know whether you have heard about it, but it is off-label treatment for people with CFS or post-viral fatigue. And in 3 weeks, I actually got much worse. I was totally bedbound, and it was really, I couldn't do anything. So I decided to get in contact with him and to ask him for this treatment. I wanted to try it because I was so desperate. I really couldn't do anything. And he actually never answered to me. He never answered my phones, my emails, nothing. So it was a sign for me. It was a sign for me that this is not the way. This is just not the way. And I was okay with it. And it was at this point, I promised myself I will never gonna visit any other doctor. And some of my friends were always proposing me some specialist, and this is a really good doctor, and this is a really good specialist. And I was like, no, I'm done with it. I was really done. And I feel so sorry for it, because we have such a good healthcare system in Europe and almost all over the world. And I know the doctors are helping every day to millions of people, but in this case, it was ridiculous. It really was ridiculous, and I feel so sorry for it. But it was really, it was really bad experience. And till now, I lost the trust towards the doctors, and I feel so sorry for that, for this experience. But at the end, I have to say that actually they were right. I didn't have cancer. I didn't have HIV. I didn't have any of these illnesses, but yeah, just the system. But I'm sure you know all of that, and it's the same story all over the world, and yeah.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, I'd never ever want to advocate for anyone to never see a doctor again, but I think many of us get there. And there are so many great doctors out there, but I had a similar experience and I'd been to them for years and I just gave up. I had zero confidence in them being able to help me get out of this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all on my own on this. I have to figure this out on my own. And I wouldn't even bother. And lots of times we're dismissed or just not like, I'm tired of having to justify myself to you and prove my condition and convince you I'm not crazy or that I'm not just,
Yeah, exactly what you just said. This I felt like I have to always explain myself, and sometimes they looked at me through the fingers like, hey, just chill and go home and rest a little bit and it will be okay, and don't observe yourself so much. But I was like, no, I'm not really feeling well. So it was really, it was hard.
What about the people around you during that time, your husband and so forth? What were they thinking, or how were they coping with all of this?
Well, my husband is a rock. He's always calm and he's never stressed out. And it was actually really helping me a lot because, it is also a little bit different for us because we are in a foreign country. We came from Czech Republic and we are in Austria. And yes, we have some friends here and colleagues, but we are not as close in such a close contact with our family and with the good friends and so on. So at the very beginning, I was chatting with everybody, with my mom, with my family, with my friends in Czech Republic, with my colleagues and so on. I couldn't go to the work, so I was working from my home if it was possible. And so I wasn't sharing it that much with so many people because of the distance. And at the very beginning, I was searching for somebody who would comfort me and who would say, it will be okay, you will be okay in a few weeks or something like that. But as longer it took, more and more people were really concerned, and some of my friends kept asking me every day about how do I feel? Do you feel better today? How are you doing today? And these questions actually, and it's really sad because they really do care about me, but these kind of questions were making me even more sick because I had to think about how do I feel at the day and how I am going and so on. So after few months or maybe few weeks, I had to tell some of my friends, please don't ask about it. I also told it to my husband because obviously he asked me every single day, honey, how are you feeling? How do you feel today? And after a few weeks or months, I had to say, please never ask me again. If I need to complain and if I feel really, really bad, I will share it to you. I will tell it to you, but please never ask me because then I'm forced to think about it and it hurts even more because I wasn't feeling really, really good. So at one point, I kind of stopped sharing this first of all, with my mom or with my family, because I didn't want them to be concerned somehow because they are quite far away from me, so they couldn't help me. And with my friends as well. And I think until now, some of my friends don't even know what I have gone through because I wasn't sharing that much. But for an obvious reason, I felt like the more I'm talking about it, the more alive this illness is, or I don't know how to describe it. And I didn't want people to look at me as an ill person. I didn't want the people or friends telling me, oh yes, you have this illness or you are sick and you are not feeling well. I just wanted that everybody behaves like I'm totally fine. And if I don't feel well, I will tell it. So it was yeah, it was really strange. At the very beginning, I was really oversharing everything and complaining every day. But after a few weeks, I had to stop because it wasn't helping really. And all these questions about how I am feeling and whether it's better or not were just making it much worse for me. I don't know how about you, or whether somebody experienced this.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's something that I've thought about a lot. And, I didn't enjoy getting that question a lot because I felt like people wanted a positive answer. They wanted something good. Yeah. So I felt like I was letting them down every time. Like, no, it's still the same. I'm still doing terrible. Or I felt like I should lie and be like, oh yeah, a little bit better, just so everyone would be a little bit happier. But I didn't really think about the fact that it's forcing you to say out loud day after day, like how sick you are, how bad it is. Like that's not a healthy thing. That's amazing that you caught that and stopped it. That was good, good insight.
Yes, and the other thing is not many people get this. Yeah, so when I was complaining to my friends or family or something like that, and we were just chatting on a phone or something like that. It was, and what exactly is going on? And I was like, yeah, I'm really, really exhausted. I have sore throat and my whole body is in a pain. And it was like, oh, it's not a big deal. Or like, yeah, I'm also exhausted every day. But so it was like, and I don't blame the people. Of course, they do not get it. But it was like, unless you don't really have a cancer or something like that, it was like, well, yeah, everybody is sick right now. It's a winter and so on. So people were actually not understanding it, and I didn't want them to understand it. I was completely okay with it, but I didn't want to explain myself over and over again that. What does it actually mean, and so on. But usually the answer was, yeah, I'm also very tired in the last few months. And I get this, And my husband at this time, he's very sporty, and he was cycling all the day, the whole day. And he came back to home, and I was totally bedbound, and he was like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. And I was so envy. I wanted to be exhausted in this way, like after doing some sport or something like that. Even if it's strange because, I mentioned cancer, for example, it's a horrible illness, and people who didn't have cancer, they also don't know how it feels, but they at least know that it's really severe illness. But in this illness, it's a little bit different.
It's interesting. A couple of things with that. I mean, one, I think we all know that when we're facing something like this, we doesn't get the respect or whatever word, like people don't appreciate the severity of the situation because it doesn't have a recognized label. No one really understands. Yeah. It's hard to explain. But then also I've had 2 people in the last month reach out to me who are cancer survivors who now have ME/CFS. And wow. I know cancer, I have no doubt, is a nightmare and a terrifying diagnosis. Yeah, and I don't mean, absolutely. But both of them said to me that they found CFS harder than getting past cancer. And again, I know cancer is horrendous. I don't mean to minimize it in any way, but just to point out that like this is really a nightmare that we're going through with this illness, and it's really hard thing to get people to understand. With cancer, these 2 people, this is just 2 people, but they said there were recognized treatment options. The people around them appreciated that they were going through something hard. Everyone wanted to help. And even with chemo, there were cycles. Like they knew when the suffering was going to end. They knew when they'd start to feel better. But with ME/CFS or post-viral, you never know. You have no idea when the symptoms are going to let up or if they're just going to keep getting worse. So just for all of us facing this or have been through this, like it is massive, even though it might not get much respect in the medical community at this moment. It's it's the battle of your life to get through this. This is a big thing.
Every day was a struggle. Every second of every day was a battle. It was really horrendous.
So what happened at that point? You reached that point where you're like, okay, I'm done with the doctors. What did you do from there?
What did I do? My own research, I would say. It was really the point where it changed because at this point, I changed my mind and I was like, okay, I have to help myself. And at this point, I also found your channel, your recovery stories, and I finally saw or had a hope that people can recover from CFS or post-viral fatigue. So, and I was like, yeah, I have to do it on my own and I have to find my own ways. This was a huge change for me in my mind, I would say. This like not rely on anybody, but just myself. And, but it was scary. Obviously it was scary. And so as I said, I've seen many of your recovery stories and I always picked up the things that resonated the most with me. Of course, I've been trying for a very long time, like normal things like usually people do, like supplements. My favorite, because I spent a ridiculous amount of money on supplements, and I had to hide new boxes with new supplements in front of my husband because he was thinking I was crazy. I ordered almost every single week something new and something that will help me. And actually, I haven't seen the difference with or without the supplements. And I have to say, from the very beginning, I felt like this has to be caused by stress, most of the part for me. I decided to work on my stress levels, on the relaxations and so on. So, and from the very beginning, I knew or I felt that something with mind, thoughts, mind-body connection will be my way. As I said, I've seen the recovery stories and they are amazing. And I always picked what resonated the most for me. And yeah, it wasn't diet. For somebody, it is a diet, or for somebody is something else. But I always heard these stories where people recovered through mind-body connection, meditations, and so on. So I tried a lot of these things. I was trying to have a proper schedule through my whole day, waking up, taking a hot cold shower, do the, dry brushing and drinking celery juices, and then do a meditation and listen to the hypnotherapy and so on. I also tried a bunch of these rapid therapeutical techniques, like the one where you should talk about your former lives or something like that. I tried many crazy things and it wasn't actually working for me. But I found out that at the moments where I was relaxed, where my mind was calmed down, I felt a little bit better. So it was the clue for me that might be the way for me. I didn't know how, and should I meditate more or what should I do actually? But yeah, this was definitely the clue for me that there has to be something, with my thoughts going on or my mind or something like that. So it was like the first improvement, I would say. Yeah.
I'm smiling a bit. It's not funny, but it's with really horrible situations, I try and find the humor in it. I'm just picturing all of us poor people out there, sick and desperate and suffering. We got a celery juice in one hand, we got a dry skin brush in the other, and we're just like desperately trying.
Yeah.
All over the world.
Yeah, and the worst thing is it was such a hard work for me at this point, really, because I was really bedbound. I was not the whole time, but I had really bad pain in all over my body. I had really bad sore throat. I couldn't even talk. I had to squeeze my whole body to say something, and I was so weak and so exhausted. It was I had even days where I really just laid in my bed and I was staring at the ceiling, and that was it, because I couldn't focus on anything else. So it was really crazy. And when I started my program, like I said, celery juice and these showers and brushing. It was so hard and so challenging, and it felt like somebody who would see me would say that I'm doing literally nothing every day. I was just sitting in a shower or sitting on my couch and meditating or reading some book or something like that. But it was such a hard work for me at this point. It was the hardest work, really, really. And I was just sitting at the couch or laying in my bed, but I felt like I'm still working on my recovery. So it was crazy. And at this point, I obviously had to also quit my job. It helped a lot, really, because the stress was always there going on. They kept asking me when I'm coming back, and yeah, there was no way. So I decided at this point, where I was bedbound, that health is everything, and I have to focus on for 900% on my health and on myself and nothing else. And I didn't care whether I will get another job or whatever, or whether I will have enough money for all the treatments, because, you know, all these massages, physiotherapists, acupuncture, and so on, it's crazy expensive. It really is crazy expensive. But I knew I have to focus only on myself. So after like 6 months, I had to quit my job. And then this stage of being really selfish started. I felt like I'm really selfish, and that I do care only of myself. I wasn't doing anything at home. I wasn't cooking. I wasn't cleaning my house or something like that. I was only here for myself, and I felt really sometimes bad that I'm not here for other people or for my husband or anybody else. But I felt like I have to do it when I want to overcome it. I cannot imagine how, like, these women with children or people with children who manage to battle this illness and take off. No, no. These are real heroes for me. These are real heroes for me. It is. Yeah.
Agreed. And I have talked to parents who have recovered, so it is doable. But yeah, it's a whole nother level of respect for all of you parents out there going through this. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm really curious. So obviously you're sitting here now doing great. So how did you turn this around from such a horrible place?
Well, as I said, I saw your recovery stories, some of them maybe 5 or 10 times. And what resonated the most with me was this mind-body connection kind of healing, like lightening process or brain retraining or something like that. And I saw your video with Jason, and this was the one which I watched like 10 times at least, because he has such a good energy and he's such an angel. So yeah, so I decided, why not? I wasn't sure whether it will work or not, but I decided to do something like that. And I wasn't sure at the very beginning, and it also has something to do with my language, that I can do it, because there were no practitioners in these kind of programs, like, I don't know, Gupta program or something similar in my country. So I had to do it in English, and it was also pretty challenging for me. But I was like, well, now or never. I just have to do something. I just have to do something. Even if, to be honest, I waited a little bit, because I had this really strange time in my illness where I got a little bit better, and I almost got comfortable with this, and it was really scary, and it lasted only for like few days. But I was really severely depressed, and I was losing hope and motivation and everything. And even if I was feeling a little bit better, I was like, okay, maybe I can live like that. Maybe I can just be at home, and I think I could sit on a plane and travel somewhere and just chill on a beach. And this was also what I did. I highly recommend it. But it was really scary because I was losing motivation. And at the time I was digging through YouTube, and I came across Jason's channel and his program, and I saw his video where he's talking about that you should not wait for the rock bottom. You should not wait for the worst times in your illness. And at this point I was quite okay. I was able to go for a walk. I was able to cook something or something like that. But I was like, no, I have to be 100% better, not just 50% better. And so I had to find again this motivation, and I luckily found this video, and I found it really, really helpful. Yeah, so I got in touch with him and started the program with him, and I had some expectation, and it was actually a little bit different than I thought. But yeah, this was definitely the answer for me. But usually this is where the story ends. Like, yeah, I did lightning process, brain retraining, Gupta program, and it was it. But I have to say it was also very, very challenging for me, and I struggled a lot at the very beginning. It was absolutely not easy. It is easy to learn how to do it, but it was quite challenging, and it was almost the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, because I had to battle my own thoughts, my own mind, and my mind was really chaotic at this time. So I wouldn't say, yeah, I did the brain retraining with Jason and I was completely ready in 2 weeks. It really was a hard work. It really is a hard work. And he also said that on his YouTube channel. It's not a miraculous treatment or recovery or something. You really have to put in some effort. I really had to motivate myself over and over again. I had more and more questions every single day. I had doubts. I had time where I felt like I'm at the very beginning again. But you have to go through this all, and then you can see the results, really. But it's amazing program. It really helped me, and I will be forever grateful to finding you, your channel, this interview, and Jason, and he really is such an angel. But what I want to say and what I want to share is you have to put in some effort. It's not just like, yeah, that was it. I was okay in few days. And obviously I wanted to be the one who will recover within week, 2 weeks, or even less. And it wasn't nothing like that. And it was really struggling. And I felt like at the very beginning, I wasn't doing anything else than the brain training, really. But then I saw the results, and it was really amazing. I actually saw the results. It wasn't easy. It was a lot of work, but it was definitely worth it, and it totally helped me.
I am so fascinated by this, and I appreciate you taking the time to explain a little bit of it. And I think that's an important thing to share, because I know there's a lot of skepticism around these brain training programs out there. And I think as we hear about them, and it sounds like this sort of magic solution, like you show up for a workshop and then 10 years of struggle is gone and you're just climbing a mountain. And I think it's hard for us to believe or buy into it. And then some of the programs are a bit pricey. So then we start to worry, like, are people just trying to scam us and make money off of us? And so it's good to hear that it sounds like his program is teaching you some stuff, giving you some support, and then you have some tools and some exercises that you have to spend a lot of time doing.
Yeah. It's definitely hard work, and you have to work on it. It's you will learn the process and how to do it and everything, but it's only up to you. It really is only up to you. And as I said at the very beginning, I was doing almost nothing else, and it requires a lot of discipline and commitment and yeah, but luckily for me, I had time for this because I was unemployed. So yeah, but also the support from Jason, and this is what I chose him. And yeah, at the very beginning, I thought to myself, okay, just teach me how to do it, and I can do it on my own. But it was nothing like that. I had so many questions every single day, and your perfectionism is always going on, and your monkey mind is always going on while doing the brainy training. So I was like, am I doing it right? And should I feel like this, or should I feel like that? And maybe I'm too, yeah. And I was also pushing very hard on my recovery. I wanted to be healthy in like 2 to 3 weeks, and I was always thinking about it. And I actually had to have this one-to-one conversation with me that, hey, calm down. Even if it takes 6 months, it is worth it. Your life is worth it. And then it started to really work when I took off this push on myself on recovery. It was really, really crucial. Yeah.
So how long would you say from when you started with this program to when you were quite functional and could, walk around and do things in your life? How long did it take you to get there?
I saw the first results in very short amount of time, but not, I wouldn't say on a physical level, but more on a mental level. I was more like positive, and I woke up and I was really shining, and I had such a good energy and everything. And in about 2 or 3 weeks, I tried skiing for the first time, and it was not, and it also sounds really always like, yeah, in 3 weeks I was skiing. It was very gentle skiing, and I was still resting a lot, but I did it, and I knew I can do that. So it was a little bit different, but I did it. And I was just, at the beginning, doing these things I loved to do again. This was so overwhelming, and I feel like I was crying every day, just tears of happiness from just doing a little things like swiping the floor in my kitchen, and I really felt so happy for it. Or I remember sitting on my bike for the first time in several months. I was crying the whole day, almost whole day, and it was so amazing. And my husband was like, "Are you okay?" or the people around, because we were just biking through the city, to the post office or something like. It was nothing special. It was there, but for me, it was amazing. But overall, it took like about 2 to 3 months, 2.5 to 3 months. But I also have to say that the interesting part is that at some point you feel like your body's maybe recovered, but your mind is not used to it or sure about it. It was really strange point at one time after 2 or 3 months of the brainy training, where I always have to ask my husband, because I was not sure whether I'm recovered or not, even if I was hiking for, I don't know, 50 miles or something like that. And I came home, I was totally exhausted, and I was like, is it okay to be exhausted after hiking? And he was like, yeah, it's totally fine. Is it fine that I do not have energy to cook or something? Yeah, it's totally fine. You were just, and yeah. And then I went cycling, and I did all these crazy stuff, and my husband was like, please never told me you are exhausted or something. Like, you are crazy, you're really. And also when I shared it with my friends, like, yeah, I was cycling today for 3 hours, and then I took a yoga class and something, like, my friends were like, well, I've never been cycling for 3 hours straight, so I'm sure you are recovered, but you're somehow you're not used to it, or you have to assure your mind again that everything is okay. And even if I was cycling up hills and it was really wow, I was like, am I okay, or yeah, do I feel good? Yeah. It was really strange. It was really strange. Like, really, I talked about it with Jason a lot, and it was really like, your body's already recovered, and your mind have to learn it again, how to be recovered, how to be healthy. And it was really, really funny time, actually.
That is so relatable. I still struggle with that to this day. I mean, it gets better, over time it's less and less, but still, if I have a really busy week or a really crazy long day, just like you said, and I'll be tired and I'm like, uh-oh, is it back? Is this normal? And then I look over at my husband who had the same day and he's out cold on the couch. And I'm like, anyone would be tired, but it's so strange how you lose that perspective of, I think it's probably that fear. Like we've been through something really traumatic, really horrible, and any little sign that it might not be gone is just really, we're probably a little bit too focused on it. And it's strange that you would, because we had a whole lifetime of being healthy. We should have some idea of what normal looks like, but I lost my perspective. It's confusing.
Yeah, exactly. I lost my perspective too, and my journey was really, really short. And in such a short amount of time, I already felt like I don't know how it feels to be healthy, and it was really strange. And also, I didn't know at the very beginning of the brain training, how do I recognize that I'm recovered? Because most of the people, they do some crazy stuff then, like running a marathon or something like that. And I was asking myself every day, like, should I run a marathon or something? And no, I don't feel that way. But I didn't feel that way because I just hate running. But it was like, it was really strange. So yeah, I wasn't sure how would I recognize that I'm fully recovered. And it took me quite a long time, I have to say. And what I also want to mention, even if brain training was the biggest part of my recovery, at the end, where I was like on 95% of my recovery, I would say I was totally fine. I hadn't any symptoms at all. I just wished I would have a little bit more energy. And I also felt quite traumatized from this illness. So I was always like in this weird state of mind and so on. And I decided at the very end to do this Kambo. You had this interview with, I don't know what's her name right now. I know it's a lovely girl from Germany, I think, and she was talking about Kambo treatment, about this frog poison. And let me just say, it was the craziest experience in my life, but it helped. It really helped. I wouldn't, maybe not, or I don't know how to describe it. I wasn't searching for the physical kind of treatment in it, but more for the mental, because I was really depressed and traumatized, and I felt this heaviness on my head. So I wanted to just let out all the negative emotions and all the negative energy I had. And I did Kambo twice, and it really helped. It was crazy, but it was amazing. And I decided that I'm gonna do this every year just to detoxify myself and just to let the negative energy. So also these kind of treatments, even if it sounds really crazy, there is something in it. It really was amazing.
So when you say it was crazy how?
Wow, the experience is very physical, and I wasn't sure whether I want to go through it, because you can feel really, really weak, and I felt extremely weak. There is a lot of vomiting and so on. There's a lot of stuff going on with your whole body, but it was like your whole body would squeeze all the chemicals and everything you had inside of your body, and then you just threw it off. But it felt really different. It wasn't like vomiting when you eat something bad. It was something really different. But for me, the biggest part was this letting the negative emotions away. It was crazy. I was screaming. I was crying. It was really intense and crazy. And you actually don't know what is going on with your body, and you actually don't care. And it was really crazy, but it was amazing experience. So here I am, and I know that my story maybe it's not unique. I haven't invented any new treatment or something like that. But what I want to say, I just did what I saw in at your channel. I just did what were people talking about or what helped the other people I saw on your channel. And I just took the best for me, what resonated with me the most, and it helped. So I don't think everybody has to reinvent the wheel over and over again. Of course, the journey is different for everybody, but there is a lot of inspiration. There is really a lot of inspiration. And I tried all of these things, and now I'm enjoying my health again.
Oh, I'm so happy for you. And I love how open-minded you are. Like, brain training, let's give it a try. Frog poison, sure, yeah, let's do it.
I know these things aren't for everybody. Most of the people are like, yeah, let's try diet and this kind of treatment. But I always was into these these things. So, and it's also a huge part that I had such a trust in these kind of treatments or these kind of medicines and so on. And it is also important to do what you believe it helps, because I was trying acupuncture, for example, and my one friend of mine was asking me, and do you believe that? And I was like, no. So why are you doing it? And so it also is really important. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly said. I love how you kept saying that you chose things that resonated, and that's it. I mean, that's my whole goal with this channel. Well, it's two goals. One, I mean, none of this is medical advice, obviously. I don't know what will work for anyone. People have to do their own research, talk to your doctor first. But just to give people some options, like things to consider. And then the even bigger one is just hope, because people just need that fuel to keep going. So yeah, I'm so glad you found some things that work for you. And how has this all changed you? Like, do you feel like the same person you were before you got sick?
Wow, not at all. And this is also really, really strange. But no, not at all. I'm still Kristyna, and it's still me. But it is weird because you're always dreaming about, or at the beginning of my illness, I was always like, oh my God, I want to have my life back. But actually, I didn't want to have my life back because I had a lot of stress and I was really unhappy in my job, and I was always stressed out. Always. I haven't realized that until I did the brain retraining, because the huge part of the brain retraining is a relaxation. And I realized that I actually never felt relaxation before. The real relaxation, like relax your nervous system, your whole body, everything. I never felt this way. I started to feel relaxed with the brain training, and it was mind-blowing for me because I thought I was happy, I was easygoing, relaxed. I was nothing. I was not like that. So many things changed for me. I'm more calmed down. Even my husband says that sometimes I really react like totally different person. I would totally say I'm much more calmer, and I have much less stress going on in my body and overall. And I feel such a gratitude to the little things, and I'm so thankful every day for such little things that I don't have to have some kind of adrenaline or something, experience something special every day. I just live my life and I'm happy. I'm just enjoying every day, really every day. So yeah.
That's so amazing. I'm so happy for you, Kristyna. You know, you've seen these interviews before, so you probably know what I'm going to ask next. But I always like to wrap up. If you could go back, do you have anything that you would tell yourself, or do you have anything you'd want to tell people who are watching, who are still facing this?
You're gonna be okay. You're totally gonna be okay for 100%. Don't wait. If there is anything, because I've waited, just do it. If there's anything resonates with you, just do it. You probably won't see the results in next days or something like that, like I was expecting. But just do it. Life is totally worth it, and you deserve it. You don't deserve to be stuck in a home and in your bed. Yeah. And also what I wanted to say, that overall my journey was quite short. I cannot imagine in my wildest dream to battle this illness for several years like you did, like many people did. And it is absolutely amazing, really. And it took me for about a year to overcome this. My whole journey was just a year, and I wouldn't say it was severe, but it was still horrific. It was still very scary experience. So what I want to say is, it doesn't, you don't have to be ill for such a long time, or I don't know whether it sounds bad or not, but I would die for somebody at the very beginning who would tell me you can recover within months and you don't have to suffer for years. And I think it also is possible. I know the journey is different for everybody, but yeah, I because at the very beginning I was looking all the all recovery journeys, and usually it took 2 years, 5 years, 6 years, and even more. And I was like, okay, so it's gonna take me longer. I was not completely okay with it, but I was like, okay, usually it takes years, and it took me just months. It was just 1 year, so it is possible to recover pretty quickly.
That's one of the things that I'm so grateful for you for sharing your story, because I know this can be a scary thing for people to do, but just, for people who are just becoming unwell, to only hear of people who recovered after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, that's got to be pretty disheartening. So it's nice to get stories out like yours, even though a year is still a year of hell. It doesn't have to be 2 years, or I don't mean to say that a year is nothing, but it's just nice to hear that people do recover quickly, and it is possible. Yeah. So yeah, thank you so much, Kristyna. I just love talking to you. I love your story. I know people watching are going to love it as well. This is going to mean so much to so many other people. And now people out there will be out there rewatching your video as they work on their recovery. And maybe one day, if you are doing that, and when you recovered, you want to come on this channel, I would be so honored to help you share your story as well. So yeah, people reach out to me. I'm always looking for wonderful stories like this to help share. So yeah, thank you so much for doing this today, Kristyna. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Raelan. Thank you very much for everything you are doing.
And thanks to everyone watching. Looking forward to your comments. If you have any questions for Kristyna, anything you want to share, she's happy to respond to them. She's told me in the video comments, so you can leave them there, and she will get back to you. And yeah, that's it for today. I've got many more full recovery stories just like this one. I'll link them up on the screen here somewhere if you want to check them out. So thank you again, Kristyna. Thank you everyone who is watching, and I will see you in the next video.